ADHD, and one of the things that I have learned to help me cope with that is organization and keeping things like organized. It's just one of the things I do. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I created this home binder back in 2020 when we moved into our house, and I shared it on the internet and it went viral. People were asking me constantly like if I could sell a version of it, which I created one and I do. There's a download on it on my website. Well, I then had people asking about apartment versions of it. Well, when we lived in apartments, I had versions of this, so I created the apartment binder. The problem is, when I created it, I didn't then have a way to use it because I wasn't living in an apartment. Well, we have been since living in Argentina. If you're new here, we have spent the last 5 months living in Buenos Aires, Argentina for my husband's job. We are less than a month away from going home, which is bittersweet. That's a whole different video. But I have an apartment binder because we've been living in an apartment. So I'm gonna walk you through how I set it up, what I use it for, and everything so that you can have an idea and maybe it'll help you. So this is just a download that you can get on my website, breezingthrough.com, download it and then print it. The really nice thing about these is you can pick which pages you want to print and which pages you don't. So I use a Mac and I go to select pages. I pick the ones that I want to print. I deselect the ones I don't want to print, and then I hit print. The printer we have in Argentina is an inkjet as well as the one that we have at home in Tennessee. So it can be kind of a lot to print all these out, but you could also do this by printing it at a UPS store or a FedEx store, Staples. There's so many places that you can print these where it's really not that expensive to do it either. And since we weren't here that long and I didn't want to go get a whole binder for this, I actually went and got one of my favorite little books that I've used for a bunch of social stories. It has clear pages on the inside. I love the translation on this, sort out good helper. It is a good helper. Anyway, so I take the plastic off of that and you can see there are these little plastic pages on the inside of it. They come apart and you can put pages inside of them. I also like to remove the label on the outside of it. The first thing I do is I tape the cover to the front. Now this is something that if you have a binder and it has a clear sleeve in the front, you can just slip it into the clear sleeve, makes it a lot easier, or you can just not label it at all if you don't want to, but for this instance, I am labeling it. I just use clear packing tape and do multiple pieces across the front. It's kind of like a DIY lamination. I always end up getting bumps, which is super obnoxious, but that's just what it is. I always lay all the tape out flat, and then when I've got all the pieces laid out, I then flip the cover over and lay all of the pieces to the back of the cover page at the same time, so that's nice and smooth. It also keeps me from flipping the cover back and forth constantly. Then, like I said, there are these plastic sheets on the inside that separate, and you can put pages inside of them. So the interesting thing, I'm not sure what was going on with this book. This time it seemed like those first few pages were super staticky and it was really hard to separate them, which was not ideal. It seemed to get better the further into the book I got. Now, obviously, if you're just using a binder, you just need to hole punch these and put them into the binder. But I like showing different ways of doing this because not everyone wants to get a binder for this or has access to a binder or can afford a binder. So this is just another version of doing it that may work better for you. Now let's talk about what's actually inside of this binder and what is on these pages. So first, there's the amenity information. And for this, we don't have a ton of amenities here that I need to put information down for, but we do have family visiting. So I want to put information about the pool and the laundry room and where to get the coins for the laundry and how to access the pool and what you need for the pool. So that's what I put here. The next section is changes made. Now, if you're doing a bunch of changes to your apartment, this is where you want to keep all of that information. For us, we really did not make changes. We just taped stuff to the walls, which will all come down, but I am still noting that anyway so that I can reference back to it later if I need to when we move out. I also put a line in here for each of the changes made about who approved the changes and the date of the approval, because it's always good to be able to reference back to stuff when you're moving out of a place. If someone challenges you on a change you made or your ability to make the change, it's just really nice to have that in writing and have that confirmation easily accessible. The next section is maintenance requests, and this is really important because you need to keep track of when you request for things to be taken care of in your space, but also how long it takes them to address those issues. We've had multiple things while staying in this apartment that we have requested they've taken care of, and it's taken a few weeks for them to be taken care of. So having all of the information, including the dates, written down so that when we leave, if there are any issues, I can reference back to this. And really at the end of the day, this binder, especially for an apartment, is going to really help you with getting your security deposit back, keeping track of everything so that when you leave, it's easy to reference everything. You can send all the information to your landlord, and that way, if they don't want to give you your security deposit back, but they should be because you deserve it, then you can easily send this to them and prove what you need to prove. So hopefully that was helpful. You can find the download for this on my site at breathingthrough.com/shop. It is $5 like all of my downloads. Be sure to like and subscribe to get more videos like this in your feed.